You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey, Penny Dreadful fans, welcome back into the AfterBuzz TV Penny Dreadful After Show, right here on AfterBuzzTV.com. We are talking Season 2, Episode 2, Verbis Diablo. I am Bobby DeMuro. Going down the line next to me, Marissa Serafini, Sarah Stretton, Allison Dean. Ladies, hello.
Hello.
Hola.
Allison is back. Roxy is out this week, so Allison, you're just going to perennially fill in for one of us while we each have a week off, and eventually you'll take over the show, so I hope you guys like her. But Sarah, welcome back from
Thank you.
Season 1. We haven't seen you, and I know you've seen first episode. Real quick, before we get into this one, what did you think of the first episode this season?
So I did a little bit of a binge watch.
Me too.
I watched a little bit of last season, a little bit of this season all together to get caught up. So you asking me what I thought of the first episode doesn't make sense.
It just runs together.
Because it's kind of like a movie in my head.
It's like a blob?
Yes.
But you did say how we missed something last week.
Well, it wasn't that you missed. It was just something that I wanted to talk about, and I was trying to get answers out.
It was good.
I had two questions. So Dr. Victor Frankenstein made a huge deal about, I guess we should call him Mr. Claire now?
John Clare,
touching the tub when the lightning was about to strike. He's like, don't do it. Of course, being that this is, you have to increase drama, he does, and he gets shocked. But there was no further implication of that. Like, there was no, like, he's really hurt, it's changed him. So I was like, why were you really that concerned? Are you concerned because it was going to affect him, or are you concerned because it would have affect the new Brona?
But who was concerned about
I think
that?
both. Victor.
Who was the one that was concerned?
But we were kind of talking about that last week. Like, wouldn't Victor just kill? Like, when he was touching the tub, wouldn't he be like, yeah, touch the tub, and then you get
if he wanted
electrocuted?
to kill him?
Yeah.
Something. I was just, well, he obviously doesn't want to kill him because he had the opportunity to shoot him.
Yeah.
And if he had wanted to kill him, he would have killed him then. It was just concerning to me because I was like, well, is that going to have any effect? And then in this week, of course, we're going to get the tie-in. I don't want to go too much into this episode, but there is the stages of development and all the factors that can be applied into what these creatures have the ability of and where that could be. And he talked about the increase of shock and the decrease of shock. So to me, I was just kind of like, wait. Why'd you tell him to back up and then not follow through? He didn't back up, and I saw no consequence.
But not follow through. You just described Victor, and we can actually talk about it with this episode too and tie it in. This is the virgin who can't, he can't go through and kill Caliban. Now John Clare, he'll always be Caliban to me. He can't. He hasn't gone through with Brony yet. That's creepy. We'll talk about it anyways. We probably shouldn't. But this is the guy who can't follow through with much anything.
That's true.
So maybe it's a I don't know if you call it a character flaw or a little idiosyncrasy, but that's him.
You can say both.
Yeah.
I think it's high EQ, low EQ.
And then
high IQ, low EQ. My EQ poor place.
What does that mean? IQ, but
No, one person who has a high intelligence would have, and I'm not applying this to all people, but people who tend to have higher intelligence might have lower emotional intelligence and have a harder time connecting to people on an emotional level.
Although he was doing a fine job in this episode.
Okay, let's just start with that. I was going to start with Ethan, but let's talk about that because this is creepy. Victor Frankenstein today with Brona, who was Lily, but will always be Brona to me. What? Okay, dude, this is like sexual assault. It's.
I thought it was rather weird that how he just walked up to her and started after he told Caliban to don't touch her. Suddenly he was just like, I'll just go right up and start stroking your bare body, Well,
I think it's just the reflection that this Victor has claimed her, Brona Lily, as his own. Not as Caliban's, as his own property. It's like, this is my creation. I'm going to do with it what I will.
It's mixed messages, though, because they have built up this physical tension between them that I'm totally creeped out by as well. But on top of that, at least vocally, I feel like he is making very caring decisions.
Yes.
And that all the dialogue that he is telling Lily it's like, he phrased it very well. Like, you are Caliban's intended, but I don't know if you loved him. He's not making it her pick sides. He really is giving her freedom of choice in a way. It's lying, and it's not completely right.
Why give her that choice? Why say, do I love him? That's for you to decide. Why say that?
I agreed with that because, it's almost like you're setting her up for something other than what he had promised Mr. Caliban,
I see it more as like leading the witness. Mm-hmm. He poses all these questions that are open-ended, but kind of, in a way, cleverly kind of seeking her and directing her to a way away from Caliban, but towards Victor.
At least, I guess I'm just saying that I'm glad that it's not, he's a horrible person. Because then I would be like, then why'd you do this in the first place? He is putting the freedom of choice out there. I think that, but on top of that, my bigger problem with this plotline is they have this sexual tension building that I don't feel is justified, because I don't feel like they've made Victor into a human being that we don't believe could be loved. Like, I haven't seen him as the character who's been rejected or who's been hurt by other women. That this would be the only option for him, is to have someone who has no mind of their own and mold them. So that's a little bit surprising to me, because the desire that they've built for him is to be a creator, to make something different, to challenge life or whatnot. But this romantic tension, I don't know if I'm buying it yet, because you haven't showed me that this guy can't be a Casanova. Like, who knows?
I don't think he can be a Casanova, but yes, I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
I still don't see it as romantic yet. I see it as more as a controlling aspect from Victor, because all of season 1 we hear Victor's a virgin, and the audience is led to believe he's never had control with another woman or in any aspect in any type of relationship. So this is the first time he can actually control a situation to a way that he wants it.
I also think there's something to be said with Victor and the biblical aspect of what he's doing as creator. And at once he creates these beings, these creatures, and sees himself holier than thou in a way, I think, even though he rejects religion pretty soundly. He still sees himself holier than these beings. He sees Caliban as a beast who murdered his other being. This is, whatever. But then there's the other biblical aspect of the fall from grace, the Adam and Eve thing, and he's sort of flirting with the Adam and Eve line. He goes from creator to Adam in the garden, and maybe Brona's Eve in a perverted way. So it's a weird dichotomy of almost, I think, to exemplify him as a master scientist who can create these people who can do this, but he can't get out of his own damn way. Once he creates them, he messes it up. I know he didn't mess it up with Proteus, but he messed it up with Caliban. He messes it up with Brona. Maybe he would have messed it up with Proteus, or maybe he got too emotionally attached to Proteus, and the mess up came when the inevitable happened and Proteus extinguished, was killed. But he can't get out of his own way because he's human, even though he may not think that he is, or he may not think he's perfect.
Did you think it was interesting when Caliban was leaving the first time, Caliban/Jean Claire, and he said, "She is our future"?
I didn't pick it out when I was watching it, but that you said it, I think it's interesting. I think what it pertains to is the fact that he put up a really important question to Victor earlier on when he was like, what are you going to be? What is Victor Frankenstein without his creature?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that his knowingness of what goes on inside of Victor's own head and what he knows his creator wants. So I think that in the term our future, yes, as an audience, we can read the underlying of, both of you are having this weird sexual tension. But from the creature perspective, it's the, I want a partner and you want a new creation. That's how I took it that's what I took it as. It was a nice dual meaning line.
And I think maybe to some degree, Victor's going to be intertwined with Caliban. We've hypothesized not only if Victor could have just killed him, but we've also hypothesized when Caliban gets what he wants, can he just leave? He's obviously got a job, he can go, but maybe Victor has some sort of reticence about that, whether it's, I don't want him to rat me out. If he says, hey, I'm a monster, I don't know how this would happen, but go look at what Victor Frankenstein's doing, this is weird, arrest him or whatever. Maybe he's scared of being found out and being labeled a pariah or something, and so they need each other in that way, or Victor needs Caliban to stay around. I don't know.
Or maybe it's showrunners being like, hey, in episode 8, I need this confrontation to happen. And I need these people to all collide. I mean, that could be a possibility.
That could absolutely be it.
I think my biggest question for Victor's storyline was, what did you think when Victor was changing Brona's image more to be? I saw it more as Victor's what appeals to Victor in a partner, not opposed to what appeals to Caliban.
I just thought it was funny when he said, like, no one will recognize her, and I was like, what? I was like, are you fooling yourself?
Yeah.
She looks like effectively the same.
She looks like Brona still, with blonde short hair. Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea what to make of that. And we were talking about that when we were watching, too. Mm-hmm. We couldn't figure out who Brona Lily represented with the short blonde hair. We were racking our brains, like, season 1, Victor, any blonde chicks, like a parent, a sister. Like, I don't know if there's a blonde woman in his history that we know of.
I don't know if it was literally that, though. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was just, is there a literal person?
A mother that, even, I believe his mother was even brunette.
Yeah.
So, again,
the opposite of his mother. That's what he was going for.
Well, if you think about it, because even Victor's past growing up, he was an only child. And then the fact that when he's telling all these lies to Brona, being family related and being like, no, we're cousins. And again, I think it's with Brona, he's like building this character to be a person that he never had growing up and that he always wanted.
Do you wonder too if he's setting himself up to fail gently?
Because they're cousins?
Yeah, we're cousins.
Like we can't do anything.
We can't do anything. You were betrothed to John Clare, and do I still love him? Well, you might. It kind of leaves it open for him, where if she rejects him and chooses John Clare, he can be like, it was meant to be. Let me create another one. I don't know. It's the guy's got self-esteem issues on some level, so maybe he's kind of knowingly or unknowingly setting himself up to let himself down easy.
Could be.
But again, leading the witness is like leading Brona to cleverly go to him.
Wow.
Listen, I don't deal a lot with people creating new bodies from dead bodies, and I'm not an expert.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
We'll go with it.
I feel like that plan had a little bit too much self-awareness, but
it's Victor, man. If somebody's self-aware in this show, it's Victor Frankenstein.
Victor Frankenstein.
I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
We will see. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sticking on Caliban and Brona. I can't call them John Clare and the Lily.
My most interesting thing is also, I mean, unless we move on, but Brona, they keep using, maybe her memory will come back.
I know.
She'll remember. It's like, that to me is very foreshadowing. And it's going to be really funny if the thing that she remembers is not Ethan.
Yeah.
It's been something
Dorian
else.
Gray or something.
Yes.
Exactly. Almost a little cheat, though. Well, maybe her memory will come back. Not this episode. Maybe next episode? No. Oh, episode 5. Her memory's back.
No, it'll just be interesting.
Foreshadowing.
Well, you'll find out. It keeps you in for the season, right?
Hey, let's talk a little bit comic relief. Mr. Ferdinand Lyle.
I love that guy. He is hilarious.
I think we've all met a guy like him, right? Do we all know somebody? I definitely know people like this guy.
Really?
Flamboyant. And I don't mean, he's kind of on the flamboyant homosexual side, like Poole was dressing him down within a scene, but just like flamboyant and funny, and always has a response and always is talking back and knows everything about everything.
I'm gonna marinate on this.
We all know a guy like this.
Sure we do. Yes.
You might be the person if you don't know any.
I was like trying to actually think of like all the people that could resemble him as you were saying that, and I'm like, yeah, definitely not. But yes, flamboyant, sure. I'll go with it.
And he loves himself some Ethan Chandler.
He does.
Well, who doesn't?
Mad flirting there.
Who doesn't love some Ethan Chandler?
Well, me.
You? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just for the record.
Fair enough.
What do we make of this Verbis Diablo that he's uncovered? The puzzle. This is fun. This puzzle could last like the rest of the season. You're looking at the season right here.
You think?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not. I mean, you might be looking at 2 episodes. But this is something that's going to be a significant time thing. It's going to get Ferdinand to stick around, which is good, not just for the comic relief, but that scene with him and Madame Kali with Evelyn Poole. Mm-hmm. He's playing both sides against the middle, or he's beholden to her in some way.
I felt like he was trying to be protective of Vanessa. Like, there's something with Vanessa. So I think he's still very, I don't know, he's feeling like he needs to obey.
Well, he's being blackmailed.
Yes.
First and foremost, he's being blackmailed. She also tells him that he's found himself in what he used to dream about. My question is, I don't really feel like she's shown him the extent or anywhere near what their powers are.
No, his blackmail is exclusively real world, because she called him a sodomite. It's
Yes.
I'm gonna push you out of the closet if you don't do as I say, which in his world would be.
At the same time, she prefaces this conversation with saying, like, oh, we are part of the occult or something. She definitely says that they are matters in which he has looked into. I just don't think he knows the extent.
He may not.
Exactly. And so I think that is kind of, that's what he's so questioning about. Like, well, what are you going to do with Ms. Ives? He doesn't know what these people are capable of. Like, what we see in this episode, I obviously didn't even know what they were capable of. Who's craziness?
But yes, again, to go off the first part of your question, the setup for the who's the new big bad of the season, yes, I think it's the whole storyline of the devil, because even in the first season,
not controlling everything. She let them into actual relics, so maybe they'll be able to find out something that can outdo her.
Well, she did say, like, this will help Vanessa, this will lead Vanessa to me. So I think, there's a part of it where she is fine with it.
But I would just hope that it does even more. Not only lead her to it, but
I'm like, it will.
Give her the strength to beat her.
It's Ferdinand, to me, too, is dangerous in a non-dangerous way, because he's such, I guess, a busybody, for lack of a better term. He wants to be involved. He's a gossiper to the fullest extent.
Yes.
He is going to, at some point this season, if not this very next episode, mess something up for somebody unintentionally, because he wants to get involved and stick his nose somewhere he shouldn't. And the more that he works with, the more that he's blackmailed by Evelyn Poole, and then turns around and works with Vanessa and all them, and the more information he kind of gleans off both sides to play them against each other in the middle, he will knowingly or unknowingly do something very bad for somebody very soon, because he either thinks he's helping or because he just can't help himself.
I see it.
That's a dangerous guy. Or hell, maybe he's got powers himself. I guess we don't know.
That would be exciting.
Again, I think he's a character that knows way more information that's going on, and he's not sharing all the information with the right people.
And he's the
keeping
scholar.
his cards close to him.
He's the real world scholar, and he knows things that Evelyn Poole doesn't know. When she asked him about Ethan, and he was like, "Oh, nothing about Ethan."
But he knows about the whole wolf, like the whole conversation about the wolf stuff that was going on, right?
Or he's gonna find out.
Okay.
And he knows things about Vanessa probably, or has an inkling, I'm sure, on some level. And then he certainly knows stuff that Vanessa and Malcolm go to him about, because he's their expert. So he knows stuff that each side doesn't know, and he can use that, depending on how it goes, to really mess some things up.
Yes,
it's a fascinating character that you point out, because the whole introduction to him that we just brought up is he's the comic relief, and to combine the character of the fool with also the character of, like,
the
what
genius,
would be, like, the sage, someone who's giving this show wisdom and access and moving the plot forward, and is also a device and is also comic relief. That's a great character.
This show needs him
created.
Desperately.
I agree with you.
Like, we have so many people who are tormented, and, like, we get all these close-up shots of just, like, what is going on in each individual's head, and then you get to his, and his head's like,
you're like, thank goodness.
He's like, bring both your guns.
It's a whole different close-up game.
Yeah, we need him really badly for a lot of reasons, and I think, I don't know, maybe it's a red herring and I'm just saying it because we saw him enough, but it'd be a hell of a good red herring too. But I think he's going to function a lot more significantly, and I hope he does, because of the levity he brings, because all these people, God love Vanessa, God love Eva Green. I can't watch her for 45 minutes every day. She didn't factor in as much today. But if you did this every episode with just Malcolm and her and serious, it would just bog down. So you need things like Ferdinand Lyle. And Dorian Gray.
Here, I was just thinking that. Yeah. Totally.
I guess we'll see what happens with Ferdinand. But to get back to some people around Ferdinand, we talked about Evelyn Poole. Let's talk about her and Sir Malcolm.
I was like so grossed out. I was like, no.
A lot of unwanted weird advances.
Well, we did see last episode. She did mention the line that she's gonna go after Sir Malcolm to get him out of the way, just so she can use him to get to Vanessa.
Yeah.
So it was like, obviously, whatever methods and tactics she was using on Sir Malcolm, it was working, but it was just that whole setup for what she has planned it.
I knew it was going to happen. I just knew that I didn't want to watch it happen.
Well, before we learned that she was a baby-killing witch, was anyone on board for the Sir Malcolm at the time Madame Kali relationship? Like, before it was confirmed how horrible this woman was and what she could do, was anyone like, oh, yes, he can find someone?
I don't see Sir Malcolm as a cad at all. I know that's been portrayed to us with his wife, and I don't see him as a player. I just can't. I don't know.
I agree with you on that. I agree.
It's weird. And so when something like this comes up, and I see him more or less hitting on her, and the thing at the gun range, and the thing with the perfume, and I'm kind of like, this is a little unnerving. Like, he's everybody's dad, you know? He feels like my dad in a way. I'm like, don't do that. What are you doing?
I do admit, at the end of season 1, I believe we mentioned it in our last after show last season, that I felt like that connection when they met in that store, that seemed more of a genuine relationship that could have really started out. Like, Evelyn could have really been a good person for Sir Malcolm had we known in season 2 that she's just a crazy biatch. But I saw it was a potential to have maybe a genuine relationship, but obviously that's not the case.
Did she have any capability for love? Anyone?
Did you see the final scene?
I know. We saw it.
I don't think
there was not just the Vanessa doll in that room. There were hundreds of dolls.
Yeah.
I was so creeped out. I was like, this is bringing back nightmares of like childhood films or like horror movies that I
those kind of dolls are a little weird to begin with. But if they all have babies' hearts in them.
No.
Also, it was the most confusing setup. I was like, is this her like shrine of power?
Right.
What are these? Like, does she paint the babies to make them look like dolls?
I believe they call those woman caves. Is that what you guys do? Do women have rooms in their homes and this is what it is? It's dolls?
News to me.
No. I'm sure to go
that I'm
straight
aware of.
no. But
not even gonna entertain it.
I was so like, what is... I knew there was a baby in that bag the whole time, but I was convinced it was her shrine for power.
Oh my God.
Anything. When it turned into... whatever it was, voodoo doll.
That's the thing.
Is that what we're getting out of this?
Yeah. We got witches now. We got voodoo. We got all kinds of stuff. They're kind of throwing like the whole kitchen sink at us.
She
here.
is not playing fair with the voodoo. She ain't playing fair.
I agree with the whole setup and the way they shot it with all the different types of dolls that we saw. I saw them maybe as they were totems or conduits for magical elements, the properties that, when she casts her curses and whatnot. But then to lead to something as dark as voodoo and witchcraft, that brings a whole nother storyline into it.
Well, yeah. Yep.
Because we saw so many. How old is she? Like, how long has this been going on? Like, really, she's not as old as we think she is. She's probably older than we think she is.
Or she has one for every day of the year. I don't know.
This has been going on for centuries.
I took this to be... Yeah, it was conquests. These are her conquests for sure.
Yeah, but how long has it been going on? That's the question.
Why is Vanessa so big?
Adding...
I think that was the very biggest close-up.
Adding voodoo or whatever this is, black mat, who knows. I can't help but imagine Roxy in the next couple weeks doing the... Whoa, wait a minute. Like 10 times a show. Because it's going to get really confusing because you got everything. I feel like we just got witches. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. Like keep witches. Let's do witches. I don't want to do the voodoo yet. I'm not there.
I don't think you can do the voodoo for long unless we get another weapon on like our good guys' side.
We will.
Because
I'm like, we must.
Exactly.
I'm assuming we must.
They've given you voodoo, baby killing,
oh my gosh,
seduction of Malcolm spell going on.
The demonic language in and of itself.
Yeah, you have a double agent happening. Like, the bad guys are like getting all of these like
cool things. Cool.
You guys make me think.
Be careful with that word.
I know.
It's like we need something for our good guys.
I'd play the hell out of a Penny Dreadful video game.
Same.
Just think about it. Just think about it.
Oh, I'm sure it's in the works.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
If they got a clothing line, you got to put a video game out.
Yeah. All the creatures you could kill.
Yeah, exactly. Can you create your own?
But we need something on the good guy's side, and I think that maybe a hint of that could be Ethan learning a little bit more about what he is and maybe controlling that power a little bit more. Because we definitely were learning more about him. He was learning about himself in this episode with our lovely friend when they found the shield. Him being like, he knew the Latin for hounds, but he was corrected to be told that was wolves. Who knows? Maybe that unleashed a lot of knowledge in his past, or what he had been told, or what he had been raised with. And there was definitely, I felt, like an internal reaction shot
I agree with you.
to how the wolves killed. So this could be...
Could be it.
Like, when is Ethan going to find out what he is? What episode is this happening?
He has to do it quick because Roper's going to talk one day, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Or turn into a werewolf.
Well, we were saying that. Like, Roper had some real bushy eyebrow thing happening where I was like, I don't know.
Well, also, I mentioned because Roper was attacked by Ethan, is he going to turn into a werewolf?
Right.
And we did see that the shot of his eye is bloodshot. I was like, he has the potential of turning as well.
We are on the same
He's going to have a whole pack.
His whole British pack.
Again, this is another I'm just like, and I forgot about werewolves. I'm like, we got the werewolves in. Then there's
American in London.
Isn't there the regular Jack the Ripper's running around too? I don't know if he's going to come in.
No, we have the whole American in London storyline going on.
That's the thing, yeah. But the regular Jack the Ripper is running around.
It's not impossible that they would do that. I mean, he's in the Wax Museum, so
exactly.
obviously
He's
it's a storyline that's relevant for them right now.
And they mentioned him in the first season,
I'm going to have to do
too.
some rewatching, because I feel like Jack the Ripper was mentioned in season 1, and it was like a cover-up story.
But it's happening. It's just not these murders. It's currently happening in London.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll ever connect.
Yes.
But I have a feeling that they wouldn't mention it and then show it in the Wax Museum and stuff if it wasn't going to come up again.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Or it could be a good potential opportunity for Caliban to step out and actually choose the good side and use his brute strength.
Well, I was actually thinking
help
that,
the fight.
especially when he had his whole conversation at the soup kitchen, the cholera soup kitchen.
Cholera.
I was thinking it could be an interesting overlap to have happen, because obviously he gets another layer of confidence from Vanessa telling him he has beautiful eyes. And you could see that in him. He was like it's like a layer of shock that someone else is confirming this. But I think that'd be very interesting if their storylines all merge.
Oh, they're definitely
and there must, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And I think he would be a good brute strength guy for team.
They need more muscle.
Team positive.
What I've learned in this show is that, unbeknownst to me, London is a very small town. Everyone just meets each other.
I know, right? In the town square, yeah.
Everyone resides in the same theater halls. There's no other places. Like, it is a small world. You can guarantee that everyone's going to run into each other at other time.
Yeah.
Which is why Dr. Frankenstein's an idiot. But, I'm with our other 4 people. I liked the soup kitchen scene.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought it was, it was a good scene.
And important because not much Vanessa besides that today.
Mm-hmm. It was humbling, and I did like the first interaction between Vanessa and Caliban, because this is the first time they've ever met on screen, as we saw. But I think my only, and I don't want to nitpick, but my only issue with this scene was Sir Malcolm. I found it so hard to believe that his type of character, after all the episodes that has built up to believe that he is not a good person throughout, straight across the board. And then I felt like this type of action, being so selfless and helping people in this type of low-down situation, I had a hard time believing his character would ever do something like this.
Cliff Notes version of Sir Malcolm is, I cheat on my wife all the time. I go to Africa for years and abandon my family. I might have killed my son in some way in Africa. My daughter has also died, and it's a whole big thing. And I volunteer at the soup kitchen every week if you'd like to join me. It's like...
Exactly.
Okay.
It's so out of character for me to believe that he would do something like this.
I was fine with it.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, because I'm like, sometimes you fill me in on you should feel that way, Allison, now.
Yeah, I think that I wasn't completely against it because he didn't say he went every week. He was like, when I can.
I go every day. Yeah, that way we would be like,
We'd be like, no, you don't.
No.
I kind of just let it kind of slide by and not rub me the wrong way.
But
because I was more concerned, like, why Caliban was there.
Yeah.
But didn't you just get a job?
Well, but remember, the job pays virtually nothing. But remember...
Does he need to eat?
But that's an environment where people aren't going to be as judgmental.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Sir Malcolm doesn't have that, like, Catholic guilt that Vanessa has. The Catholic... all of her kind of prayer scenes that we see every couple episodes. Sir Malcolm doesn't do any of that. Right. So it's not... And that's not to say he doesn't have something to him that we just don't know about, but he doesn't have that same sort of guilty conscience, I guess. He's a little colder to the world.
Which cold to the world, I do think he has a guilty conscience, though.
Yeah,
about his children and stuff, not necessarily out into the universe. He's very, inwardly focused, I would argue.
True, but I mean, then I think that we are seeing a rise in his character all around. That might be his demise, because in this episode they made sure, yes, we did add the soup kitchen. We did add that he was very honest with Evelyn Poole. He was very honest with her, and that he was like, I'm married, I can never commit to this. It was too big to his family. Like, we saw him obviously choose Vanessa. He's there for her. He's trying to help her in different ways. They're building up his character in this season.
I like it. I just don't like him with freaking this Poole. Ugh.
Do you like Dorian Gray with Angelique?
I totally said to her, I was like, she's a man. I was like, the minute she walked up, I was like, an attractive man, but that'd be a man.
Are we going to be allowed to assume that on the show?
Yeah.
And you know who doesn't care about that? Dorian Gray.
He don't give a damn. He's very equal opportunity. Whatever.
Yeah, but it's also like the introduction of Angelique only having one name. There's there's already a red flag there. It's like something is off.
As polite as everybody is, I'm Vanessa Ives, Miss Ives. And I'm Angelique. Call me Angelique. You're like, okay. We know who you are,
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna nitpick.
Go
Marissa.
for it.
I'm gonna nitpick with you.
Okay.
Did anyone else find it interesting that in the course of a day he went from saying no at lunch to like, I'm over
totally
my broken heart and I'm going to say yes tonight?
Because he's a hedonist. He can't help himself.
I was not surprised by that. I was like, of course.
Or if I may tell you folks what Marissa told me, I can't speak today. The best way to get over somebody is to get under someone else.
She said that?
Mm-hmm. She said that. I made her repeat it. I was like, what did you say?
Say that again?
Yeah.
Oh.
This came from you?
But true. It could be.
Totally true.
Very true.
Totally true.
For him especially.
I just kind of feel like he's been pining over Vanessa for a little bit. We haven't really seen it. And to me, he was like still very in the dreads of it today. He was looking at her picture. And I was just like, I don't know if I believe you switched that fast without any event.
He still can pine for Vanessa and be in love with Vanessa, but it doesn't excuse his sort of carnal needs to...
Okay.
Yeah, he's still that guy. So he can still be, boinging Angelique and, and still be in love with Vanessa. Totally.
Okay.
I think the thing with Dorian, why he's so intrigued by Vanessa, is that Vanessa's probably one of the only people he's ever encountered that actually questioned him back and actually treated him as a human being and went philosophical and deep and on world-related topics, where everyone else he just slept with
surface stuff
and didn't even care. It was all superficial. Totally. There was no deep relationship and connection.
I agree.
I think that on this whole storyline, though, with Dorian Gray, we're going to need to see a little bit more than him have flings with people or have sex with someone who's slightly intertwined with his group, like when he did with Brona. I think he needs more of the supernatural element. Like, he is a supernatural being. I want to see him encountering more of the foes or allies or whatnot that we are seeing happening to
everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, he is existing in this city as well. Why is he not coming in contact with the witches as much? Why is he not coming in contact with the master? He just seems to be still on his own with, okay, here's a new lover, here's a new whatnot. So I'm wondering if Angelique might present that, but I need that more in this show. Because right now he's just this tangent that's floating around who's connected to Miss Ives.
I don't know if he will be intersected with all of it, though. I think he may just be the love aspect of
then I don't know if I need to see him.
Well, I mean, considering what he does, the hedonistic thing, the pure pleasure thing, I mean, it'd almost be disingenuous to the character in the story if he suddenly grew a conscience.
But he could sleep with the wrong thing.
Oh, for sure.
or something. Because right now I don't need to see his storyline because it's not. We are dealing with these other people who have crazy witches who are killing babies.
Who's to say if he has a thing for Vanessa on some level that Evelyn Poole can't figure that out and go to him and exploit his hedonistic sensibilities and get something in return?
And then maybe that's when I want to see scenes with him. And so unless Angelique is providing something along those lines, I don't need to see his scenes with Angelique.
And we still haven't even seen his portrait.
He's not being intertwined with any of these other characters. He's just kind of floating around. And unless they can make this a bigger picture that I want to witness, there is so much going on. I have so many questions. I don't need that as much.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
He's a back burner.
Like, Brona's interesting because she was a love interest that now became tied with everyone, and she's creating plot, she's creating drama, she's creating thought, and it's ever changing. Versus with Dorian Gray, you're kind of like,
I think I was okay with it.
Someone else.
I was okay with it in the sense that it was not a major focal point. So it was like, oh, there's a couple minutes of that. Oh, there's a couple minutes of that, and we're done with Dorian Gray. Like, it was not enough for me to feel like I was being cheated by other storylines.
I'm giving it a little time to have more. I'm just saying it better give me some more.
You better give me some more.
Going off of that, but being like not being cheated in a way, I saw it as more as it was a storyline that took away from the bigger storyline that's already going on.
Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like it took away. I just thought it was like another layer of Dorian Gray that we're seeing, and I was like,
which new layer did you see?
Well.
I thought the biggest layer was Vanessa. Was the Vanessa love thing? That's the layer. That's the layer.
Because they did focus on that.
This is the hedonistic guy who admits to being in love, whether or not he was lying or whatever. Who knows? But there's something going on with the picture there. You don't come on. It's like checking your ex's Instagram feed in this day and age. It's the same thing. Like, you just come on. There's something there. Anything else on this episode? We're kind of running out of time, so I want to get to news and gossip and stuff. But anything else this week that we missed, you guys?
I'm sure there is, but now that you've asked it in that rough sort of manner, I don't know.
If you were watching on YouTube, hit comment. You can comment, tell us stuff. You guys do a great job of that anyways. You can always tweet us. We'll give our Twitters out at the end of the show. Before we do that, let's get to news and gossip.
AfterBuzz.
News and gossip.
Got a couple pieces of news for you guys. The first one is the season 2 premiere last week was the least popular Penny Dreadful episode ever.
What?
I have a feeling, my hunch is, because they released it early and because the show had a following from season 1, that a ton of people may have watched it online early, and the over-the-air TV ratings were affected because so many people were like, I'm getting this thing early. We all did, didn't we? Didn't everybody watch early?
It messed up the Nielsen rating.
Is everyone DVRing it anyway, so doesn't that register?
I'm not sure, but that's a good question. But I have a feeling that so many people watched it online early that I didn't DVR it.
Yeah, but it already is auto DVRing from last season for you. It's a trigger. It's like you're perpetually recording whenever Penny Dreadful pops up.
I guess.
Unless you change your DVR settings.
I'm not an auto DVR guy. I'm a manual.
Oh, you are?
I gotta be in control. Yeah, I don't trust it. Because I feel like I'll get a lot of reruns, not with this show, but other shows.
That, my darling.
It's too hard. It's too hard.
Maybe. Well, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say that people are creating friends over Penny Dreadful and watching together.
There you go.
So instead of four TVs, you're getting one.
I am not believing any of this right now.
It's such a good show.
Public relations. The second piece of Penny Dreadful news I've gotten, Marissa's got a good one too. Sarah Green plays Hecate. How do we pronounce her name?
Hecate. We haven't decided.
What's the Greek?
I've heard the pronunciation Hecate.
I've heard Hecate.
Hecate.
But
Hecate. Whatever.
Okay.
Tomato. Whatever you mean.
Let's just go
whatever region you're from.
So apparently, the actress's name who plays Hecate is Sarah Green. She's an Irish actress. She is apparently part of the most famous Irish super couple, actor couple. I didn't know this. I don't know anything about Irish pop culture. It's with Aidan Turner. He's in a show called Poldark on BBC. So if we have any Irish watchers, which I have a feeling we do because they filmed this in Ireland, tell us what they like. Are they like Brad and Angelina? I don't know. Sarah Green and Aidan Turner. There was just a big thing about how she's got on the scene not only because of the show, which is a relatively minor role, but she's dating this dude, Aidan Turner, who must be the truth in Ireland. And so they're a huge celebrity couple. It's Sarah Dan. I don't know what you pronounce their names as.
I think what you really need to take away from this news and gossip is that if your last name is Green, you should go audition for Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
Because they hire
Eva Green.
females with the last name Green.
Irish names
That's
Sarah
what I took from
Green
it.
and Aidan Turner. There has never been a more Irish couple, my friends. All right, Marissa, what you got?
Over the week, Billy Piper did a Q&A panel on Facebook, and just there were a lot of people who added questions, but some that I really took away from, just a couple I'll read really quickly. How much does the writer/director allow for ad-libbing? And she said very little. The details of the plot are so fine that you have to be incredibly loyal to the script.
The words mean everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a little bit about her audition part. She did a self-tape with a friend of hers that helped her, and then next thing she knew, she was eating a Caesar salad with John Logan, the creator.
We've all been there.
Of course, that's how it always happens. And if she could play another character, it would be the creature because of his beautiful mind, supernatural strength, and envy how well read he is.
Oh.
Yes. And then a little bit about that bath scene that when she was in the tub submerged. She said she moaned about it constantly and gave herself mild panic attacks. You know, dealing with water and being underwater for so long, for so many takes.
I was envisioning this. Okay, yes, right.
Yeah, so being underwater in that tub scene. And then one last thing, what's her favorite thing about working on the show? She said the quality of the script and the cast. The team they've selected is just such a brilliant bunch of people.
I agragree with you.
Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah, no. It's like, we knew that.
I agree.
If she had said differently, we would have been like, what? And then we would all taken in our ball-shaped forms.
Okay. Let's do some predictions.
Do you disagree? Do not.
The voice.
And now,
That was a voice.
your AfterBuzz
You can do
TV
it too, I promise.
predictions.
We can't.
All right, I will start because I'm going to stick with my prediction earlier. Ferdinand Lyle is going to screw something up.
I like it.
He's a busybody. I know this isn't like a true prediction because it's not super specific, but he is going to, I think unknowingly, I take him at face value. I think he's an innocent, nice enough guy, at least innocent in the realm we're talking about. I think he's a nice enough guy. I'll take him at face value, and I think he's going to unwittingly really screw something up for either Vanessa or Ethan.
I think because you mentioned that somehow Dorian has to get tied and connected to everybody. I think maybe his portrait, Dorian is a kind of person who can live for as long as he can as of right now. Maybe that'll connect to these dolls in a way. I don't know, some supernatural connection that these things live when something is transferred to, or, implanted into these dolls. And Dorian, whenever he's affected, he transfers things to his portrait. So I don't know, maybe some supernatural connection there.
I see that Ethan is going to look into his past and figure out what he is by doing some research.
I like it. I think that we're going to see another overlap. I think that Caliban / John Clare may go in search of this Vanessa Ives character that he just met because he felt some... Well, you know what I mean? Like, he felt some respect from her, and they had such a lovely conversation that I think that might occur.
Do you think those partners are going to swap?
Do you think what?
Do you think Brona and Vanessa are going to swap? Like,
Listen.
It'll be Victor and Brona and Caliban and Vanessa.
God bless Brona Lily. She right now...
Brona Lily, I love it.
The creation of her right now is an idiot. And Caliban is very well read and very smart.
True
and
that.
does he have the patience? I know he's waited long enough to create her, but does he have the patience now that he has an eye on somebody like Vanessa and the blind girl?
Yeah, because we don't know what's happening with that. I don't know. I saw more of, when they were sitting and chatting, I saw more of a friend thing happening. Like, he just felt like a mutual kinship with her. I don't know. But that's not bad,
I
Marissa.
just have to remember that someone gave him an orange and he attacked her face. So she complimented her eyes. Who knows what can happen?
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, as we get out of here, remember, comment, subscribe on YouTube, iTunes. You can subscribe and rate us. And if you want to talk to us, tweet us. You can do that right now. Allison, let's start with you. Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Where can they find you?
Same thing for everything. At the Allison Dean. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
My name's
Sarah's got nothing. She doesn't have a Twitter. You don't have a Twitter still?
Nope. Good, thanks.
All right, Marissa, what about you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
And I'm on Twitter at Bobby DeMiro. We'll see you guys next week for more Penny Dreadful. Good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.